Reminds me of a realtor that I was talking to a couple of weeks ago. He's been in the business for about 2 years. And I bring up this idea of seller concessions. And he's like, Jeff, how do you write that offer? Is it somewhere on the contract? And instantly I start thinking there is this pool of realtors that have only been in the business for less than 5 years. They know nothing but a seller's market, and they don't know how to ask for things. So absolutely, we are seeing a shift where we can ask for some things and we don't have to waive those other things that are important as an escape clause in contracts like option period, appraisal contingencies, approval contingencies.
Welcome to the STR Home Financing Podcast, where we believe a legacy is something you build, not just something you leave behind. And now, here's your host, Jeff Chisum.
Hey, Jeff Chisum here again with STR Home Financing, Episode 2. Thank you so much for joining me today. Failed to mention last week, first episode, if you can go to whatever platform that you are experiencing this podcast on, like us, subscribe to us, rate us, all those good things means the world to me, means the world to what we're doing here, how we're educating people on building wealth through real estate, through short-term rentals. So please go out there and do that. The other thing that I failed to mention is just how honored I am to be a part of this family through Hospitality FM that produces this podcast. Will Slickers, his team is amazing. And there is an amazing family of hospitality type podcast out there. So go check those out. So I really felt like it was important since we are in an environment where there's so much uncertainty. We're in, kind of this looming recession. We've got mortgage interest rates that have been on the rise since March. Second home occupancy financing has experienced probably one of the biggest hits, with Fannie Mae imposing these additional fees back in March, just making it more expensive for consumers to do these types of loans. And then the Fed's raising the interest rate as a magic cure to avoid a recession. So a lot of people running away from the market, and the true investors are running to the market. So true investors who've been investing in real estate for a long time absolutely love these types of markets where people are running away for various reasons. Right now, it's the interest rates for the most part. So they know that is when the greatest opportunity is going to arise, is when there are not as many people in the market. So what I want to share with you today are some ways to combat those higher fees, those higher rates, but then maybe shift your thinking a little bit in how you've been approaching or not approaching investing in short-term rentals. So it's absolutely true that rates have gone up. They potentially can go up here in the near future. But the first thing that I want to throw out there, if you haven't heard it before, is we're actually able to ask for some things in this market from sellers. So, we've been in a seller's market for a long time where, you don't ask for anything and you waive everything and you give up your firstborn to get it. It is waive your option period, throw out crazy money for an option fee, waive your appraisal contingency, waive your approval contingency, offer over 20% over list price. We've been in that market for a long time, and that's when it's been the busiest. And now that rates have gone up here quite a bit, people are running away, and it's created a better environment from a buyer standpoint. So what do I mean when I talk about you can start asking for some things? And reminds me of a realtor that I was talking to a couple of weeks ago. He's been in the business for about 2 years, and I bring up this idea of seller concessions, and he's like, Jeff, how do you write that offer? Is it somewhere on the contract? And instantly I start thinking there is this pool of realtors that have only been in the business for, less than 5 years. They know nothing but a seller's market and they don't know how to ask for things. So absolutely, we are seeing a shift where we can ask for some things and we don't have to waive those other things that are important as an escape clause in contracts like option period, appraisal contingencies, approval contingencies. So what does that look like? So on the 10% down second home occupancy loan, you can ask up to 6% in seller concessions. So we're talking a $500,000 deal, 6%, do the math. That's a lot of money that we can spend towards paying for your closing cost, buying the interest rate down, keeping more money in your pocket, because if you haven't bought in this space, that is why 10% is so attractive, because you want to have money in your pocket to make this property special, stand out in the crowd once you buy it. So absolutely, 6% seller concessions to buy the interest rate down, get a lower interest rate. 2-1 buy down, write it down, 2-1 buy down. So this is a loan structuring opportunity. It is a product where the seller will pay the fees associated with the 2-1 buy down. And what that is for the first year of the mortgage, your interest rate will be 2% lower than the actual locked-in note rate for typically a 30-year term. The second year, that rate goes up 1%. And then the third year, that rate is what it will be for the entire term of the loan, or for however long you are in the loan. So if, for example, and I will say with every bit of information that I communicate on this podcast, it's all subject to change. After being in this business since 2008, that is one thing that I've learned is consistent over time, is that things change. So you'll always want to find out what the up-to-date information is, what the up-to-date strategy is, and that is part of what I am hoping to bring a value to you as a listener, is to always keep you in the loop on what is going on in the market, what are the current strategies for financing in this space, the things that you need to know to be successful. So 2-1 buy down, let's say rates right now are 7.5%. Your rate that first year would be 5.5%. So that improves cash flow. It improves the opportunity to be successful in that first year. And then second year, 6.5%. But it's almost like a 3-year adjustable rate where the rate's fixed for 3 years and then it adjusts thereafter. But it just kind of stair steps to a point where you do get to a fixed position. But what those 3 years or those 2 years buy you are the opportunity that we're going to see some shifting with the rates. We're going to see some rate cycles come through where you can refinance into maybe a rate that is that 5.5%, maybe lower, or something that's going to work better for you. So the 2-1 buy down. Please stay tuned. I'm going to share up-to-the-date information. The next few podcasts will educate you around the truth with the 10% down second home occupancy loan. But I want to make sure that we put you in a position where you can be successful in your endeavors. You feel like you can take action and go out and do the things that you've dreamed about. Until next time.
Jeff Chisum is a registered mortgage loan officer, NMLS 673623 for North Point Bank, NMLS 447490. North Point Bank is an equal housing lender. All programs and products discussed on the show are subject to change without notice.